My topic for core assessment number 2 was job outsourcing and job offshoring. First of all, what is job outsourcing? Job outsourcing is the transfer of certain operations within a business to another country which may or not be located in that same country. Offshoring is the moving of work to another country which may or not be performed by that company's workers. To be more precise, offshore outsourcing is sending operations of a company to foreign countries that will be performed by workers in foreign countries. For example, this would be a U.S. company sending manufacturing of clothes, toys to China, or technology to India. Why do companies choose to outsource, and why is it an issue today in modern politics and economics? Businesses choose to send work to workers in foreign countries because it is cheaper. It boosts the economy as a whole, globally, and it provides an opportunity for foreigners to make a decent amount of money. This is an issue today in modern economics because some people argue that it takes away jobs from the American people, mainly the middle class, while others argue it stimulates the economy as a whole. What are the key elements of job outsourcing and offshoring? The key elements of offshore outsourcing is that paying foreign people to complete tasks will ultimately help big businesses make a larger profit, but take away from the American people. In the 1990s, the internet began to revolutionize the workforce as we know. Communication is so simple now that workers can complete jobs thousands of miles away and still stay connected with bosses. Owners of businesses soon began to realize that many low-skilled jobs such as data entry, accounting, processing insurance claims, loan applications, and tax returns could be moved to workers in another country willing to work for a cheaper price. CEOs of large businesses have to pay less for foreign workers to work because they typically have a lower standard of living, so they will work for less, while Americans have a higher standard of living, so they want more money to work. For example, software programmers in America earn on average a salary of $70,000, while software programmers in India earn an average salary of $8,000. What are two possible solutions to fix the problem of job outsourcing? One solution to fix this would be to completely eliminate it from American economic policy. This would provide thousands of jobs for Americans and stimulate the American policy specifically. Another solution would be to place a tax on corporations if they choose to offshore jobs. This would force them to hire American workers. 400,000 American jobs have already been lost due to global outsourcing, and this would give workers back their jobs. Now I'm going to talk about my ideas on outsourcing. The fact is that it is not possible to completely get rid of offshoring. According to data, 36% of CFOs reported their company globally outsources. So personally, I feel that a small tax should be placed on companies who choose to outsource. This will decrease the amount of jobs taken away from middle-class Americans while still allowing companies to hire foreign workers. They will just have to pay a tax, which will result in them making less of a profit and hopefully reaching a point where companies will be totally driven away from offshoring. How will placing a tax on businesses who choose to outsource impact the economic and political systems? Economically, my position will stimulate the American economy by putting more middle-class workers back into jobs and putting more money into the pockets of the American people. The more money the middle class of America has to spend, the more things will be bought from businesses, allowing them to earn a profit. Politically, politicians will argue that placing a tax or tariff on businesses is unconstitutional and is considered to be putting too many restrictions on Americans' free trade market. But personally, I feel that companies who outsource need to have a tax placed on them because the American economy should be stimulated more specifically rather than the global economy as a whole. Now I'm going to be showing you a graph displaying why job outsourcing needs to come to an end. As the amount of jobs overseas increased, there were less jobs for Americans, raising the unemployment rate. It's not that Americans didn't want to work, it's just that they are competing with foreigners who are willing to work for one-fourth of what Americans are willing to work for, so it's virtually impossible for them to get a job. As over 2 million jobs were outsourced overseas, 3 million jobs were lost around 2009, as you know was when the recession hit the US. This graph reinforces my idea that job outsourcing needs to be cut down, or companies outsourcing need to be taxed to limit it, impacts the American economy negatively rather than positively. My second chart is depicting how much lower the salary of a software engineer is in India compared to the United States. United States companies would rather pay an Indian worker $14,000 than an American $94,000 because they will save money as a profit or use it to enhance their product. Also, this chart shows how it is extremely competitive for middle-class Americans to gain an edge over a foreign worker when they have such a higher standard of living and they need so much more money when workers in India require so much less money and gives them an opportunity to acquire a job from a US company rather than an own American. Finally, I'm going to be showing you a video reinforcing the idea of what job outsourcing and offshoring is.
Outsourcing their labor to developing nations as a way to cut costs. But recently, many individual employees have been sending their own work overseas.
I take the money that I would have spent on coffee and pay someone in India to do my job for me. It's allowed me to unleash my full potential.
Philadelphia accountant Donald Felton outsources the majority of his daily workload to Jahanara Kashem, an accountant based in Bangalore, India.
I get my assignment from my supervisor and I send it off to Jahanara. Sometimes I'll look at it when it's done, but usually everything's right.
Mr. Kashem says he's extremely happy with the 68 cents an hour Donald pays him.
I'm able to feed my family, and Mr. Felton can devote more time to his fantasy football team.
And Donald is just